Hey now. Welcome to Red Alert Diaries live with Tanya E. I'm glad I get the chance to see you again. And if you listen to this morning's episode, then you know that we're having an extended conversation about single parenting. There are four pillars that I shared this morning that help me get through how to help my babies feel a little more whole, be a little more equipped. Because I don't know if you're aware that 70% of the children from divorced families often feel emotionally neglected, not because their parents don't care, but because we as parents and people in general have a tendency to love somebody through our own lens. If you are giving somebody the love that you think you need, then you're not really paying attention to the love that they feel that they need. And this can help you get a little more insight about moving forward because part of the pillars that I shared is what I've used to lay a foundation. And now that my children are grown, I've had a little more opportunity to see, is the foundation really laid appropriately? That first foundation was looking at how they feel loved. We know that we love our kids. And for a lot of us, we do the things that we think will show that we love them by going to work, making certain that they are in stable environment, keeping the basics together for them. But if you've never figured out your child's love language, then I want you to pay attention to how they naturally express affection. With my oldest, when he was smaller, he wanted to always be really, really close, and most kids do. But he also wanted to explore things on his own. Now, he would travel and go out for a little bit and then come back and see, hey, was that okay? And I would have to give him moments of praise. It took me a minute to really discover that his love language was touch and words of expression. So, encouraging him, giving him affirmations, letting him know that I was pleased with what he was doing. That was love for him. And if I neglected to do those things, it became a problem, especially as he got older. Because in the aftermath of my divorce, I sort of forgot his love language because I was so busy trying to keep myself whole, keep me stable. And that's what a lot of us that go through those emotional turmoils do. We try to keep ourselves whole. And we use words and expression and things that work well for us. What works well for me was quality time, but what worked best for him was touch, words of affirmation, and gifts. I didn't pay enough attention to that. And it dawned on me a little bit more when the second child came around because that youngest one, initially, he didn't want to be bothered with me. He wanted to do his own thing. But I found that when he had moments where he wanted to feel reassured, quality time was his love language too. So, because we had a similar love language, the time that I spent reading to him at night, that gave him love. That helped him feel a little more secure. But for the older child, that wasn't what he needed. And I had to create something brand new. So, if you listen to this morning's episode, then you know that one of the things that I did was pillar number two, create a safe space. That safe space that I created for my children was the family meeting. In the family meeting, anybody can call the family meeting, including at that time the 4-year old. And when my 4-year old exercised his right to call a family meeting, I had to really pay attention to that. So, if you put some new things in place while you're navigating the hurdles of divorce, give yourself some space and grace to do it. A lot of times we're trying to make adjustments because we know our children are going through something and we want to help them through the process. But what I found that the family meetings opened up a moment for them to feel trusted in this new lay of the land. And they gave me, as their mama, the opportunity to see, how are they doing today? Are they really okay? And because they were empowered to call the meeting when they needed it, if I wasn't prepared, I had to give me a few moments, let them know I needed some time because this was new for me as much as it was new for them. But if you let your children know that while they're walking through the storms of life, you're walking through it with them. So both of you will need to have some time to adjust. And if you don't adjust fast enough in your mind's eye to make sure that they are whole, to make sure that they are safe, give yourself what I often call the pace of grace to get through it. I needed 30 minutes when I got home from work. I found that that helped me reset my emotions, take the day off of me so that my kids didn't get that dumped on them on top of everything else that they were dealing with. And then I did one thing that my grandmother did. She created my safe space around the dinner table. Now she was fixing dinner and stuff, and well, the kitchen table, because we had, you know, different settings back then. So the kitchen room table was for her. But in my household, it was one table, the dining room table. But I had an open kitchen so I can see them at the table from the kitchen. So while they were doing their homework and I was getting dinner ready and preparing myself a little bit to get the day off of me, I got the chance to have a little bit of small talk. And that's when I learned from them if we needed to go deeper. Make those moments the safe spaces to build the trust by listening to your children without judgment. Because while I was cooking, it helped me reserve myself so I wasn't judging what they were sharing, trying to give them insight and information. Sometimes people just want to get it out. And your babies just want to give it out as well. Because when they were little and they were coming to you to share whatever they were sharing, you let them get it out. They said what they needed to say and you listened. It didn't make sense to you, but it was really good for them to share. And when they drew their beautiful little pictures, you know, the scribble scrabble that you didn't know, you have to ask them, well, what is this? You took the time in the beginning of their lives to let them know that you would be present to hear them. But as they grew older and became teenagers, or as they were walking through the emotional warfare, you switched. We've got to go back to creating safe spaces. That's why pillar number 2 is a safe space for your babies. Now, here's pillar number 3. Pillar number 3 is communication. We have to help our children learn how to communicate effectively what they are feeling, their emotional warfare that they are walking through because they're walking through it. And when you were going through the storms of your divorce and the chaos that you were experiencing as well, you may have tried, like I did. You see, my first marriage, in that first marriage, we didn't really argue. Our arguments was silence. So for my children, silence meant that there was something going on. They didn't quite know what it was. Just like a lot of times if you're walking through some emotional moments, you don't always know exactly what that is. But you know there's something. There's a shift in the atmosphere that takes place. That shift happens for your babies as well. So you have to balance how you're communicating what you are experiencing and let them know. Because if you're not sure how to go through it, it's okay to let them know. I don't know how to do this. If you can't figure it out, let them know I can't figure this out. And it's okay. Well, I'm glad that you're here. And it's okay to let them know I'm walking through this as well. So as you learn new words, new terms, new elements for what you are experiencing, let them know that. Because it lets them know that, hey, I don't have to have everything figured out. My parents are here to make certain that I can walk through this together. Because if they don't have it all figured out and we're still okay going through this, whatever comes at me when I get older, I'll be able to work it out as well. You empower them by strengthening them through your walk, through your talk, through the lessons that you are learning in life. So be okay with sharing. Hey, right now, I'm not really sure how to do that, but let's come up with a plan together. It includes them in the family restructure. So when you start putting new measures in place, they're not bulking at it so hard. They're not fighting you a whole lot. And they understand that, hey, we're all building this boat together as we row. So if we all row together, we will get to a safe landing pad for all of us. What I needed to do was to ensure that I communicated my lessons a little bit different. So if you listen to this morning's episode, then you know when I went through my emotional warfare, I would write out those letters and then I would burn them. Now, with our babies, I didn't want them playing with fire, so I could not do the burning the letter moments with them. But what I did was something a little bit different. I call it wash, rinse, repeat. So the water wash was the way of getting my children the same thing that I did. So notebook paper, because you need loose leaf paper for this. Anytime you are writing something emotional in your being, use loose leaf paper. Do not write your chaos or anything that's going on with your soul on something that people will get the chance to see forever. So, writing it out on paper helped my babies get it out of their soul. Writing it out on paper supported them through the journey of getting whole. Writing it out on paper. And then we put it in the water. And at the end of our family meetings, if there was a lot of paper in the water, I let them know, you got a lot out today. How do you feel? Recheck their heart, recheck their souls, recheck with them emotionally. And that gave me an opportunity to make certain that I was connected to sometimes the nonverbal. And at the end of writing out how they felt, because they may not have wanted me to really know, because while we are trying our best to be all that we can for our kids, some stuff they don't really want to tell you. But you still need to let them know that you'll be there while they work through that emotion. So they wrote out, and I didn't read it. They put it in the water. But when they finished writing it out, they also shared what they wrote. So as parents, we want to know. We really want to know what's going on, because in our mind's eye, we can help them a little bit better if we can hear what they have to say. But here's the fourth pillar. Watch their body language as you create that safe space, passing on your life language, your life lessons. That fourth pillar, your life lessons. I was transferring my life lessons, but it took me back to pillar number 3. How do they communicate? Communication is more than just verbal. Their nonverbal communication spoke volumes. I learned more about my children's nonverbal communication in that moment that supports me now that they are older, because I still carry on the family meetings. Now, we don't call them family meetings anymore because they are adults. We just go out. So while we're out, just catching up, I can still see the nonverbal communications that sits on the hearts of my children. I can still see how their souls are still trying to connect with what's going on around them. I can still see those moments when I had them write it out and we put it in the water. They didn't have the water, but maybe we needed to. So I would ask them, I want to talk about it a little bit later, because I recognize the nonverbal moments. It still communicates volumes. And then there will be some moments where now we text to one another. So as they're texting me, so that whoever's around don't really hear, they'll let me know that, hey, in this text moment, we can catch up a little bit later because we don't want all of this captured. Find what you need, because those family moments that you create when they're little, looking at their nonverbals, will help you when they get older, so that you can build a new bridge that brings you all back together if it gets broken along the way. Because for some of us as parents going through divorce, we've lost our children in the bends of life. We've lost our children trying to figure out how to get them to being healed and being whole, but being pulled from one house to the other left them in a space and place that was not as supportive as we hoped it would have been. So if you find yourself there, I want you to know you can build a new bridge. Build a new bridge by creating these elements with these 4 pillars. And if you need to remember what they are, go back and listen to this morning's episode, because it's there. I give you a little more insight how to seal it, and it's a little more succinct so that you can remember it and start applying the lessons. Because my desire is to give you strategies and insights that will support you on the journey. And if anything that I've shared tonight resonates with you, then it's time to like, comment, and share this with others so that they can get the support that they need as well. And if you want to have a deeper conversation, feel free to reach out to me. Go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click on the Work With Me tab or go over to the Contact Me tab and schedule some time with me so that we can have a one-on-one discussion that is better supportive to what your needs are. And so for today, that's what I wanted to share with you. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same. Looking forward to seeing you later. Take care, everyone.